Welcome, welcome everyone. We are super excited today we're doing a very special live stream with a very special guest, one of my mentors, Peter Sage. Peter is an international serial entrepreneur and subject matter expert in human behavior and self-mastery. His unique way of looking at the world has earned him the Distinguished Brand Laureate Award for Extraordinary Individuals, alongside previous winners who include Nelson Mandela, Steve Jobs, and Cristiano Ronaldo. So he's in amazing company. Peter's a 6-time TEDx speaker whose multiple #1 best-selling books have sold over 150,000 copies in several languages. He's founded multiple 8-figure companies, raised over $1 million for various charities, and is now committed to sharing his vast knowledge and experience in a way that allows others to lead an extraordinary life. Peter, thanks so much for joining us.
Seth, an absolute pleasure to be back, my friend. And yes, I mean, out of all of that, we can get jazzed up on accolades and history and stuff, which I'm not really, buzzed about. I'm more buzzed about what you said at the end, which is how do we use what we learn through our hard-earned, climb up the ladder of hard knocks to really help other people. And that's why we're here.
Absolutely. And if you don't have a copy of Peter's #1 international bestseller, The Inside Track, I highly recommend it. Quickly became one of my new favorite books, an absolutely incredible story. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But Peter, right off the bat, what do you think the biggest challenge is for entrepreneurs and business owners right now?
I would say that it's the inability to handle uncertainty in an empowering way. Everything's always going on in the world. I mean, what is this year going to present to us? The same as next year and last year and the next 10 years and the last 10 years, the next 3,000 years, last 3,000. Challenge and opportunity. That's the world entrepreneurs choose to live in. Challenge and opportunity. And so if you are only able to capitalize on opportunities when there is no challenge, you're not an entrepreneur. A calm sea doesn't make good sailors, as they say. So really it's about how do you adapt when life throws you the curveballs? How do you hit it out of the park, or at least not get smashed in the face with a baseball traveling at 80 miles an hour?
You talk a lot in the book and in all of the other things you do about, and you just mentioned your ability to be comfortable with uncertainty. Why do you think that's so important?
Because there is no certainty, period. And I think a lot of people found that out over the last couple of years when everything they held on to as certain was suddenly rocked. Either the industry they were in, what they were allowed to do, their health, or whatever it may be. Their certainty is an illusion, which is why the more you're able to handle uncertainty, the greater your ability to adapt and thrive in an ever-changing environment that you can't control for the most part.
I agree 100%. In the book, you dealt with arguably one of the biggest uncertainties someone could throw at a person, which was sending them to the most violent prison in the UK for 6 months plus, when you did not commit a violent crime or actually weren't prosecuted for a crime at all. So what was amazing to me about that story is so many people would interpret it the other way. So many people say, my life is over. I'm going to lose my wife. I'm going to lose my businesses. My world is ending. And take that to whatever extreme they did. You viewed it as an amazing opportunity and went in as a secret agent of change and arguably probably had the most positive incarceration experience ever. How do you do that, and how do you maintain that? And obviously there's a whole lot of lessons for us in that.
Great question. And the first thing really off the bat to understand is that it's not because I'm special. It's not because I'm crazy. There are strategies that anybody can learn and adapt to. And one of the most important parts here is to understand that it's always path of least resistance to take the role of victim. It doesn't take courage to be a victim. It doesn't take courage to blame circumstance or other people or your boss or the government or the economy or fill in the blank. That doesn't take courage. And it is courage that is the gateway to emotional maturity. And when I say emotional maturity, most people forget that biological and emotional maturity are not correlated. We all know some emotional teenagers running around in some bodies past their sell-by date. So when it comes to victimhood, as tempting as it is, one has to forego that level of temptation and ask better questions. Questions are the steering wheel of the mind. And the question I asked myself in that civil action, where I was fighting a multi-billion-dollar company with unlimited resources, was able to send me to for contempt of court to a place I didn't even see coming, and I saw it, and I'm like, okay, when it happened, I'm like, okay, if I choose the path of victim, yeah, I've been unfairly treated. I didn't have the ability to hire the better lawyers. They twisted all of that crap. There's nothing I can do about what's already happened. And that's where most people fall down. They look at what's happened. They realize they can't change it. And so what do? They fall into apathy. They fall into blame. They fall into anger. They fall into, denial. And none of those are going to lead you to a path of greatness. They're going to keep the milk spilt on the carpet, and it's going to stink without any intervention. So for me, it was literally a case, Seth, of saying, okay, I'm not going in as a prisoner with a sob story as justified as we all think it is. Yeah, and all of our sob stories are justifiable. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. I'm going to understand a fundamental truth, and that is this. 80% of people don't care about your problems. The other 20% are glad you have them. So when it comes to going in, what's the best, most empowering context I could create for myself? Well, I've been teaching positive psychology and helping people and putting my heart on the line to try to give people an example of being a better human for a long time. And not succeeded and fallen down and got up and just done the best I can, as we all do. What an amazing opportunity to go and reach people that would never normally even have the opportunity to get exposed to my work. And if what I teach does work, what better place to demonstrate that than in the most violent prison in the UK, with people who wouldn't exactly sign up for a Tony Robbins seminar.
Yeah, amen to that for sure. But maybe they're, as you mentioned in the book, they're the ones who need it the most. And I mean, the ripple effect you created in terms of not only the lives you touched, but the prison system and things that you've changed that you may never even know about was absolutely incredible. Why? I mean, we look on social media, we see people who are crushing it, and then there are other days we feel like we're getting crushed. Why is there such a disparity? Why is there such a big difference?
Well, one has to understand as well that social media isn't the life you have; it's the life you think everybody else wants to see you have, or you want to show everybody else that so they think you have it. It's a scream for approval. It's a craving for significance, validation, approval, all the usual stuff. And if you're being driven externally, then you are going to be at the mercy of circumstance. What do I mean by that? If you are relying on anything or anyone in the outer world to fit your pictures before you give yourself permission to fill in the blank, then you're playing a losing game. See, the elite societies throughout history have known this. And bearing in mind, only 200 years ago, 2% of the world was literate. It was reserved for the scholars, the political elites, the ministers, the rabbis, the religious, or however you'd want to frame the powerful or the influencers of their generations. And so knowledge at that level was prized, and we knew that when it came to playing the game of life on life's terms, on our terms, not as victim but as empowered, to star as the star of the movie of your life rather than supplicate yourself to being an unpaid film extra in everybody else's soap opera, then the real game to play in town is to get good at playing feel great now. Not feel great if one day, not feel great when I finally get, but feel great now for no freaking reason. You don't need a reason to be happy. Go and look at babies. You don't see a baby happy and say, what's he doing? Why is he happy? No, he's happy because that's what babies do. Now, again, I'm not saying it's all sunshine and roses. I'm not saying that life should be head in the clouds on La La Land at all. What I'm saying is the difference between those that crush it and those that get crushed is not that they happen to be in a lucky part of the economy, or that they meet the right person at the right time, or the illness cloud doesn't rain on them. No, the people that get on the best, that make the best of the way things turn out, quote John Wooden, are people who have developed an empowering psychology that supports them in spite of all the stuff in the outer world that's going to get crazy, that you can't control, that's going to look like it's going to spite you. They're the people who get on, and the rest of us look at and think, wow, you're so great, you're so lucky, you're so talented. No, they've just made a switch to understand there is a massive difference, Seth, between chasing knowledge mastery, which is outer world stuff to get skills to validate your path in life, over self-mastery, which is mastering the person who is applying whatever skills you then choose to learn.
So, I mean, that's a perfect segue then. Why is self-mastery more important than knowledge mastery? Are you saying we don't need to buy all of the latest courses, tapes, videos, all that stuff?
Not first. You see, it's not so much the fact that they do or don't work. And we know personal growth, 85+% of people that get involved in personal growth, the only thing that changes is the debt on their credit card. And they seek the next course, the next action, the next thing. And it always becomes, majority of the time, DFL or data for later. And we then blame either the course, or we blame ourselves, or we blame circumstances, and we rinse and repeat. It's like, wow, I saw somebody else take this course and they gave a great testimonial and it doesn't work for me. Well, it's got nothing to do with the knowledge most of the time. Now, of course, the knowledge has to be some level of quality, and most knowledge these days is out of date by the time we go to apply it, just how fast things are moving. But the vast majority of people who have mastered the inner game realize that you can go buy a Forex trading course, a real estate investment course, a speak Italian, play golf course, whatever it may be. And you can have 100 people buy the same course and 100 people get different results, but the material is exactly the same. So it can't be the material that's the variable. Clearly, it's the person applying the material. And if the same thing that stopped you the last 5 courses hasn't been addressed, it's going to be the same thing likely that stops you on the next course, no matter the shiny bells, whistles, objects, and promises that come with all the marketing that it packages with. So if you learn how to master yourself, how do you deal with emotions that you don't want to feel? How do you step up when it comes time to reframing outer circumstances as exciting opportunities for challenge rather than scary objects to be avoided? Again, same outer world, different inner world, different life. Some people, divorce is traumatic, others it's freedom. Same deal. Some people leave you in a relationship and you hit the Prozac and go depressed and join the Lonely Hearts Club to bleat out your victim story and blame your ex for the next 5 years. Or you say, thank God they went, so they made room for somebody who's better. It's the same breakup. It's completely different approach to it from an internal perspective. And you don't get that from buying a knowledge mastery course.
So how do we, you talked about the thing that holding us back the first 5 times is going to be the thing that holds us back the next 5 times if we don't change that. How do we uncover what that block, for lack of a better term, is? And then how do we get rid of it?
Great question. And if we had the answer in a pill, it would be, it would outsell, everything on the market. But the reality is it takes work, but it also takes the intention. And the challenge is most people don't even, or aren't even aware that they need the intention to find that stuff because they're too busy being programmed by the loud voice in their head that says, well, of course I want to be more successful. Of course I want more wealth. Of course I deserve a better body or relationship. But that isn't what's running them day to day. What runs is our unconscious patterns of limitation. And as I've said to so many people, that the number one law or rule or golden, whatever you want to call it, in personal growth from 31 years of being in the game is this: people can never rise above the opinion of themselves. And I'm not talking about the opinion that you have when you say your affirmations in the mirror. That's veneer over a rotten tooth. I'm talking about, let's take money as a great example, because so many people are fixated by it, even though they don't understand really what it is. If we take money, if you grew up in a household and some of your earliest memories are of mom and dad fighting over money, number 3 reason why there's separation and anger in the home, money worries. If you have a look at that as an association, you grew up with a link, a very strong link to money equals lack of love, lack of safety, lack of feeling valued. Now you may say, well, that means I'm going to go get driven to go earn it so I don't have to be in that position. Challenge is, if you've got unconscious beliefs linking money to fear, then when you get a load of money come in because you're working your ass off, you're going to find ways of letting it slip through your fingers, resetting the button. And no matter what business ideas you start, what new job titles you get, plus or minus 10%, chances are you're going to earn the same amount next year. So from that perspective, there's so many patterns that you could talk about. If we realize that as evolutionary creatures, we come built in with mirror neurons. Our brains have mirror neurons that are programmed to copy our outer environment. And again, if you saw your dad saying, working his ass off to try to put food on the table, you have an unconscious link that money is hard. Therefore, you've got to work hard to get it. Now, none of those beliefs are actually true. They're only true for the person that holds them. It's like if you believe in magic, you'll live a magical life. So, not unknowing or very rarely questioning the beliefs that we currently have and peeling back the onion and asking better questions. Why do I believe that? Is that still true for me? What other beliefs would I have to buy into in order to think that that was still true? You will start uncovering an entire Gordian knot that most people don't know how to tackle because they don't know how to ask the questions.
Absolutely. Why is it so important to invest in ourselves?
It's probably the highest ROI you'll get on anything you put resources into. Yeah, if you invest $10,000 into improving yourself, you get to carry the benefit of that for the rest of your game. You invest in a business, that business may or may not make profit. And that business, chances are, won't be around in 10 years. And what you'll have is a painful reminder or a lesson. But you invest in yourself, not only are the rewards ongoing, they build on each other, they're also tax-free. Why wouldn't you? Right? You're going to be able to get ultimately what it is that you're trying to get from your other investments, which is a higher quality feeling. Why do I invest or why do I put money into my business? Because I want to make more money or become more successful or help other people or whatever it may be is your mission. Why? Ultimately, it always comes back to because I want to feel, fill in the blank, good enough. I want to feel I've contributed, valued. I want to make myself proud. Pick a feeling. Well, if you're investing in yourself and you find ways of being able to show up with those feelings by uncovering the blocks that are preventing you from feeling them in advance, you're then free to go and build the business, give your gift to the world, and you're doing it with more passion because you're feeling the end result now. So why wouldn't you invest in that? And then as you become a person of greater value, that value translates into a marketplace that rewards you with an exchange of value we call money.
Absolutely. I love that analogy. Talk about, we are honored to be participating in your upcoming event. Can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about it? And
oh my goodness. Very excited. I put together a training because, as you said, Seth, where do we learn this? Where do you get taught this? We don't get taught this at school. School teaches you how to pass tests and work for somebody else. What teaches you how to master yourself, to get up in the morning, to create beautiful relationships with the person in the mirror, let alone other people? What really goes into unpacking that ancient wisdom of those two words on the Temple of the Adelphi, which is know thyself. Most people, it's say no to thyself. And so I created a training on 30 years of the best of what I've learned, field tested, battle tested. And I wanted to put a formula together for my top students. And I did. And we've refined this over the years. And what shifts do they need to make in order to unleash their true potential? And this training has blown the socks off so many people. And the most common thing we hear, Seth, is, wow, I've been in personal growth for 10 years. I've spent money hand over fist trying to get to the level of how I now know how to get without spending that kind of money. And it's a game changer. It's like if you never knew that the food that you ate had a direct impact on your health and body shape, let's just say you never knew that. At some point in human history, I'm sure that was the case. You're like, I've tried all this stuff. I don't get it. I'm reading the right books. I'm doing it. I keep putting on all this weight. I don't know what's going on. Pass me another cheeseburger and donut, will you? Right? Not going to happen because you don't make the connection. It's not as if it's a giant secret. It's just never been taught. So when it comes to self-mastery, what were the things that were never taught? What are the levers that you can twist that will create a compound, ongoing, permanent shift in your ability to step up? And that's what I wanted to bring. And this is the first time in over a year that I've done this. And it's the first time I've done it for your tribe because we had such a great time coming on. And I want to make this available because what's going to get us through today, this time in human history, which is somewhat precarious depending on which way we could go. We could crash into a majority victim mode, or we could rise out of the ashes of what people have been through for 2 years and rise up so that we can be empowered. That ain't going to happen by what you watch on CNN. That's going to happen by people taking charge of their own inner game with a technique or rule sets that deliver, not promise and don't. Make sense?
Makes absolute sense. How can our folks, we'll obviously be sending out some information about the event. Do you want to tease them now? Tell them a little bit about where they can go to learn more?
Great question. I was hoping you'd have a link.
Okay. I will get one, and we will put it on the end of this post wherever you see it, and we will email it out as well.
Yeah, but I do want to say, though, that this is live. This is not one of those recorded deals. As I say, I'm going to be showing up. We've got incredible people coming in. You're in. I mean, it's going to be amazing. And I love doing things live because there's a different energy. People know that. People know when you try to pretend to be live and all that kind of stuff now. No, I want to show up and deliver. I'm going to take 2 hours out of my day to show up, give a knock your socks off level presentation, do some Q&A so we can interact with people, so we can get some questions that are real, not contrived, but questions that people are pertinent to them on how they can apply what they're going to learn on that training to them. So I'm all excited for being able to make that happen. And it's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday, a week tomorrow. So that's the 8th of June. And I know that's the last day I've got before my birthday celebrations. I'm 50 next week. And we've got a whole load of stuff coming down here. And I says, listen, before I turn the half century, let's go empower a load more people. What better way to step in to the next part of the game for my life? And by the way, I'm talking about empowering. I remember some of my friends getting depressed at this age, or remember their dads getting depressed at that age. And I'm like, are you kidding me? People are asking me all the time. I'm like, you kidding me? I am so more excited about the next 50 years than the last 50 years. And I was pretty damned excited about the last 50 years, right? So yeah, I'm excited for that, but I couldn't think of a better way to enter my next half century than doing what I love to do, which is empowering people to go live the best versions of themselves.
Awesome. Well, we know your time is incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you coming back and spending some more with us. We will, happy birthday in advance.
Thanks so much.
We will see you next week. For those of you watching or listening, we will post the link below this video. And then, of course, if you're on any of our subscription email lists, you'll get emailed as well. Peter, thanks again for coming back and joining us. And I can't wait for next week.
I'm excited too. Thank you so much. Love the time people commit. Never take it lightly. And you show up on June the 8th. I'm going to over deliver for you. Oh, one last thing as well. I've also got a special registration bonus for people that sign up that they can get busy with right away. So I've put something together today, in fact, that they're going to love for that. So as soon as you sign up, you're going to have something super cool to really lay the groundwork to unlocking some of those inner beliefs and limiting factors that I mentioned earlier. So anyway, that's all for adding value.
All right. We know you'll over deliver. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.